Okay, we are live. Welcome everybody to this is this isn't a chasm, friends. Even though I have a friend here with me, Nikki Hawks, the obsessive bookseller, is with me, and we're talking about Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport. Um, we recently did a buddy read together on that, and had lots of fun, had lots of interesting discussion and cool ideas. So if you're watching this and you're interested in minimalism, or maybe you've heard of the book, or maybe you haven't, feel free to chime in and chat with us. um, so I didn't necessarily have a structured plan for this tonight, but I thought that we kind of we could start off by sharing our overall thoughts on the book and how it made us feel and things like that, and then we can go into some of the finer details. But
Yeah, that'll work. And I went through like all of our buddy read back and forth and printed out all the notes that we had for that. So we can even kind of look at chapter by chapter
yeah,
as we get into it. But I do like the overall thoughts. Why don't you go first?
okay, yeah. Uh, Well, of course, this was the second my second time rereading the book, and I always get a lot out of the book, and I'm always reminded of things that I'm doing too much of that I need to stop,
Yeah,
and the
same.
ways that social media specifically, but just my phone in general is kind of directing my life, and
Yeah.
it's it's a catch 22 because the phone can be very useful, but there's so many ways that it draws us into needless activities, and I think for me that is my biggest takeaway from this book is just reminding me of the things that I need to be more aware of in my use of technology. And it it reminded me of things that I'm doing good on and things that I'm not doing good on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the word that stands out from all of that is intentionality. So everything you're doing, it's with a purpose. And actually, that's the first thing that I got out of his book the first time that I read it. This is actually my third read through. And
Okay.
believe it
Yeah.
or not, I'm getting every bit as much out of it now as I did that first time through. But yeah, that sense of intentionality where you're everything you're doing on your phone, you're doing it for a purpose and it's to enhance the things in your life that bring you meaning. And so
Hmm.
I was thinking like, yeah, digital detox, get off your phone, whatever. But the way he presents it as using it as a tool, I found incredibly valuable. And yeah, this every single time I read this book, I get something new out of it. So the first time around, it was about just getting in touch with the things about my life that I wasn't spending enough time on.
Hmm.
And it triggered kind of this project called Finding Joy. It's kind of a weird thing. And then I'd heard of the Happiness Project. So it was kind of like that, where I was trying to figure out all the things in my life that I wasn't spending enough time on. And around the same time that I read it the first time, I figured out how to look up screen time usage on my phone.
Oh
And
yeah.
I had never looked at that data before, and I was absolutely appalled. I had spent like over the past couple of weeks when I first looked into it, I'd spent like 6 hours a day on my phone. And it's funny because when I was a kid, they asked me to like paint in art class what my number one fear was in life, and it was running out of time.
Yeah.
That's the thing to this day. I'm still like most worried about running out of time and not having time to do all the things that I want to do. And then flash forward to me looking at my screen time usage and realizing I'm spending 6 hours of my day on my phone instead of doing all of these projects that I claim to love but never have time for. It was a very big eye opener, like a wake up call for me. And
Hmm.
so this time around reading it, it's a really hard balance now because now I'm a content creator. I always did the blog thing and wrote reviews for Goodreads, but content creation, I do everything on my phone. And so all of those bad habits of checking, especially like comment response and things like that, have just crept back into my life slowly. Because that's kind of why I got myself off of Facebook and Instagram and all of those social media platforms because I was so sick of being at the mercy of checking comments every single day. But now it's, part of my like hobby job, if you will, to do that. So this time around, I had to get a lot more intentional about when I was doing those things and trying to be more strategic with that. So a lot of my strategy this time around is shifting when I'm doing the things. Am I doing it at home when I should be, spending time with my family and being present with them? Or should I do it at work when I have a few minutes here and there and it's not going to affect anything? So yeah, because it's real easy to just constantly be glued to it and see what's new. It's so addictive and they do it to you on purpose.
Yeah, yeah, they do. Um, yeah, that reminds me of that documentary. I forget the name of it now, but it really
The
popular.
Social Network.
Yeah, The Social Network. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's really eye opening, and he talks about a lot of similar things in this book about the attention economy and
Yeah, I think that documentary was very over dramatized to make a point. But it's not inaccurate. Like the information that they're giving across, it's not untrue how they deliberately arrange your phone to be an attention grabber. I used to
Mhm.
call it, I used to say I had Facebook refresh syndrome, where, just addicted to that constant trying to refresh, see what's new. And I even, in this book, Digital Minimalism, he mentions they interviewed the Tristan guy that used to work for Google. And
Yeah,
he
Tristan
mentioned
Harris.
that they designed that swipe down to refresh to simulate a slot machine.
Yep.
And I just thought, and I used to go through, I'd have a handful of games, all of my social media sites, and I'd start at one, check everything, do everything it would allow me to do, move on to the next one and go in this circle. And by the time I finished going through one round, there was new stuff on the first ones. So I would just
Yeah.
be in this endless cycle of checking. It's crazy how much time I used to spend on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely relate for sure. We got Josh here.
Hi,
Hey,
Josh.
good to see you, Josh. Yeah, Josh is a good friend, good book and gaming tuber, and yeah, he's told me before that he's very much on the side of Luddite.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's great. And that's kind of hard, especially as a content creator, as we both are. Uh, it it feels like we have to be on social media to gain any kind of following, and
Yeah.
in a sense, we do
Yeah.
because
You have to play the game if you want to be recognized and included. You have to be willing to go on chats. You have to be there for the live streams. You have to go on people's discords, and
yeah,
you've basically got to be present. You've got to have a social presence if you
hmm
want to gain any traction, because there's I feel kind of like a booktube click, and the only way to get in it is to participate. And unfortunately, I've been unwilling to sacrifice the time needed to play the game. And it hurts sometimes when you see all these things happening, everybody involved, and you feel kind of left out. But at the same time, the amount of hours it would take away from what I'm already doing, it's just crazy. I have a hard enough time keeping up on comments with between Goodreads, Patreon, and YouTube. It's like a constant thing. I'm like responding several days later, like, sorry, a little bit behind. And that's me at my best effort.
yeah. Oh yeah, I can understand it. It gets so bogged down sometimes with all the stuff that we have to do and or that we feel we have to do anyway. And um,
YouTube
yeah,
is
we're
also my Achilles heel.
yep,
Yep.
it is mine too.
If I'm spending time on my phone, it's usually because I'm watching YouTube or commenting and interacting and stuff. So
Hmm.
yeah, I've got to watch that.
Yeah, you were mentioning your to me earlier your watch later list on YouTube is like I what did you say? I think you said 50 videos or something like that.
Oh no, like 500. I had it at
Okay.
before we started reading this book, I was at about 20 or 30 saved for later videos. And
Yeah.
then became increasingly aware of how much time I was spending on YouTube. And so I gotta be I'm up to like 500 or 600 saved in just 1 month of all the people that I follow whose videos I want to watch.
Oh
And
my.
that's
Yeah,
after going through, I mentioned this when in our buddy root, I went through and deleted a whole bunch of followings
I
just
remember
to
that.
kind of, curate who I'm following and who I'm spending time with. And yeah, even then, I still have 600 videos to watch, and I'm one of those completionists who feels like a failure if I don't watch everything on my watch list. Like it's so hard to just delete the things off of there. So
Me
yeah, I'm
too.
having a hard time reconciling that. And actually, that same tendency goes along with content creation on my phone, because when you see how much time you spent on your phone every single day, it's skewed by work time. And
Hmm.
so I can't just look at my phone and be like, oh, yeah, I only spent an hour on my phone, because it's skewed by how many hours did I spend filming? How many hours did I spend editing? Like, it's so hard to tell. So, yeah, that part drives me crazy. I need to figure out a different way to track it.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, it can hurt channel growth for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you get the diehard people who really want to follow you. Uh, that will just, they'll always check back no matter whether they see you post on
Yeah.
social media or not.
That's a good point. Yeah, that core following who just appreciates, you appreciate that they're there for you and you're there for him, but they don't care when you get back to them. They're just there for the conversation. Like, yeah, I love those people.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Three figures. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
let's see. Oh, 3 feet. Yeah. Wow. Yep.
It drives me
Yeah.
crazy. That's like inbox zero with email. I get there
Hmm.
on occasion, but it just drives me absolutely bonkers.
Oh yeah.
All or nothing.
I do my best to stay inbox zero as much as possible too. And at
Yeah.
work, it's funny. I succeed at work, but then my personal email not so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my email inbox at work is usually empty, and then my personal email inbox is. I mean, it's not massive. I only have about maybe 15 emails that I haven't deleted in there, but still.
That's not bad. That's actually another aspect of digital minimalism that I'm struggling with the most is email checking. I
Mhm.
don't remember if it was this book or another book. I think it's a productivity book that I'm reading by Chris Bailey. That might be wrong, but it's called Productivity Project. And
Okay.
he talks about how most people check their email 50 times plus a day,
Yeah.
because Google is brilliant and they know how to get you back for more. It's like they create that habit of checking. And so you feel like I don't know, anytime that I have a down moment or I feel uncomfortable, I'm on my email. And
Yeah.
a lot of times doing that at home is where I get down the rabbit hole, because when I check on the emails at home, I'm not actually planning on responding to anything, but then it takes up mental space seeing what has been emailed. And yeah, that's been the thing that I've been struggling with the most. And actually, this is a good time to bring up my slot machine strategy.
Oh
So
yes.
to avoid, I tried to delete email off of my phone completely. But you can access everything through your web browser. But unfortunately, iPhone won't let you delete your web browser unless you want to get into the like software and mess with it. And I don't want to do that. So
Hmm.
I started a strategy. It occurred to me that when he compared digital use and cell phone use to slot machines, where you're just looking for that dopamine payoff, I'm like, I have been gambling with my mom several times in my younger days, and like putting money in a slot machine just never appealed to me. I
Yeah.
must be cheap, because the act of like, I'd watch her lose $100+ and then put another 100 in, and that was so appalling to me. I would put 20 in and I would bet the minimum, and it would still just like grate on me to see that hard-earned money go down. So I'm like, what if I took the same strategy and applied it to my email inbox, like treat my phone like an actual slot machine where every time I want to check it, it costs me money. So I set that up. It was about 2 or 3 weeks ago that we talked about that, I think, with the buddy read.
Yeah.
And I said, it's going to cost me a quarter every time I want to go check the internet on my phone. Anything that I want to do that's worth a quarter, I can do right then. Otherwise, I need to jot down a note and save it for when I'm at work and I'm already in front of my computer. And
Yeah.
so to this day, I have spent $3. Like,
Wow.
I've allowed myself on that few times, and half of that was like a compulsive checking when I was trying to see medical results for my kid. So
Mhm.
yeah, I've done pretty good on that. Putting in a financial risk has really helped me in that regard, and it was the
That's
one thing
good.
I was struggling with the most. And so, but see, the impulse to pick up the phone is still there. So I'll pick it. I'm like, well, I don't want to pay a quarter. So what can I check? I'll check my bank account. So I went from like budgeting once a week to checking almost several times a day because that habit is so ingrained. It's so hard to let go of the habit. I remember reading somewhere, there was one woman who took everything off her phone and then got really familiar with the weather app just because you need, like, it's hard to undo all of that training of checking your phone that often.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's great that that strategy has worked for you, and it is kind of
So
funny
far,
that you reverted now to checking your bank account several times a day. I guess that can be a good thing, right? Just in case there's some random feed that comes through. You never know.
it has been helpful, but the thing about that is when I check it, I'm only on there for a couple seconds at a time. Oh, nothing's changed, or one
Yeah,
thing's changed. It doesn't take that long to check. So I follow through on the impulse, but I don't actually have to like go down a rabbit hole. So, and
yeah,
that's actually what I just read, The Power of Habit by Duhigg. And one of the most interesting things about that book is how he says you don't change a habit completely. You replace it with something else. So you go through the same motions, but then you replace it with something healthier. And so that's
mhm,
essentially what I'm doing with this. Now, eventually, I'm going to get bored checking my bank account every single day. 3 weeks going, and I'm still going strong. But yeah, hopefully the impulse will die off when there's not as much of a payoff.
right. Yeah, hopefully so. Yeah, that's really fascinating that I love that you put that monetary requirement in there because it
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 was a strike
definitely
of brilliance because
yeah,
it's the only thing that I think would have kept me off because I've been trying for a couple of years now to keep myself, because I can delete Facebook from my phone. I can delete all the apps like the Goodreads app and stuff, but I can still access YouTube Studio through my web browser. And so
right.
even if I hide the thumbnail like way deep into my phone, it's like a matter of seconds to find it again.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it's the only thing I could think of, and it's been working so far. So, I feel like I've got a little bit of my life back.
that's good. So do
Yeah,
you upload your videos on your phone too?
I do.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
from
same here.
start to finish, I do absolutely everything. The only thing I started doing on my computer is thumbnail creation, but
Okay, yeah.
yeah. And I hate editing anything on a computer. It hurts my
Yeah.
eyes, so everything on my phone,
Yep.
like,
I edit on my phone as well, although I did
yeah.
recently I did recently upgrade and I got a camera, and I was going to
Oh,
try
nice.
to offload and do editing on my computer, but the convenience factor of it's
Yeah.
easier for me to do it on my phone as well. So, I'm
I'm
still
afraid
thinking
I wouldn't keep up with everything if I had just one more little barrier in place. I don't think I'd create as much content because then
right.
it becomes a process, and I'm already crunched for time as it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is a process, and you gotta go with what does save you the most time, and editing on my phone definitely saves me time, so
Yeah. Yeah, it
it's
might be
hard.
at the sacrifice of a little bit of video quality, and sound quality. I keep using my your AirPods instead of an actual speaker, but
Mhm.
I mean, it's content. It's creating content. Whereas if I had to get the SD card out, put it onto my computer and edit it on there, I don't think it would get done.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, it wouldn't get done for me. Whereas the nice thing is with my phone, at least I can take the SD card, and I have an SD card reader. I can just plug it right in, load it to my phone, and edit from there, so,
Oh, I
um,
didn't know that was a thing.
yeah. Mhm.
That actually might be an option for me then. That's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah, I just bought the Apple SD card reader, and it
That's
goes right in the
awesome.
phone. Yeah,
I'm such an old person, like, how does this technology work? Like, what's this new device do, Hickey?
right? Yeah, it plugs
I'm gonna
right
have to
into
look
the
into that
lightning
though,
port. Yeah.
because I have a really nice camera that I invested in ages ago, but
Mhm.
I haven't brought it out and used it. It's been like 2 or 3 years I've had this camera just sitting there that is a really nice camera, but I'd much rather use my phone. And actually,
Mhm.
that's another thing I was considering at one point, switching to a flip phone.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then yeah, but then I thought, the one thing that keeps pulling me back to my phone, 2 things actually are, because I'd figure out the editing thing, or it actually, even if you don't have cell service on your phone, you can delete everything but just the apps you use for work, and I could
Right.
still create content on there. But it's the photos, the ability to
Mhm.
take photos without having to drag out a camera. Because when kids are doing something funny or stupid, it doesn't
Mhm.
last long enough for like, wait, let me get the camera. Like you could just, so much more convenient. The other
Yeah.
thing that was bothering me is audiobooks. The
Oh,
thing that
yeah.
draws me to my phone the most is audiobooks. And that's one of my living with intention, like life, like joy enhancing things that I do is listen to
Mhm.
audiobooks. Obviously, it's one of my favorite hobbies. And so I'd go through the weekends trying to figure out how to both stay off my phone but also have it accessible so I could listen to stuff. And woe and behold, my husband's Kindle, his like paperwhite Kindle, has the ability to play audiobooks, whereas mine did not. I did not know that the newer ones had that feature. So there's my solution right there. I can set my phone aside all weekend and just have the thing that allows me to do books and only books. So that's been a game changer this time around as well.
Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, the audiobooks definitely hold me back too, and also texting. Texting
Mm,
on a basic phone is maddening.
yeah,
It's just absolutely maddening. So,
I agree. Yeah, what time you save in other places, you lose to taking 10 minutes to send a simple message. Yeah,
mhm.
that's another reason why I didn't switch to a dumb phone also. We talked about the Matt Diavella's light phone video.
Yes.
Yeah, that reminds me of that. And yeah, his experience with that kind of mirrors what I think I would have with it. So,
Yeah.
but other than picture sharing, there's, I don't know, I would almost prefer people call me.
Right.
But and there was a part in the Digital Minimalism book where he was talking about kind of setting a structure for your time
Yeah, the
and
office hours
setting
and stuff.
aside specific times where people know when to reach you and whatnot and whenever convenient for you. So had the
Yeah.
example of this one businessman who, like, he would say, call me at 5. You want to talk? Call me Thursdays at 5. And so people just knew to call him at Thursday at 5 if they wanted to talk. And so
Mhm.
throughout the rest of the week, he wasn't bombarded with messages for things that could wait, essentially. And
Mhm.
I've been trying to figure out a way to implement that into my life, and there's just no way. Usually
Yeah.
it's communication back and forth with family about kids, and that kind of stuff just doesn't wait. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like the idea of that, of cherishing your time and kind of scheduling things out a little bit. I can see if you were a working professional to schedule business things. And in fact, I
Yeah.
could take the exact same thing and apply it to comment responses. Like you
Mhm.
want to chat with me? Great, I'll be online during these hours, and that's when you'll get like more immediate responses. So, and I'm
Mhm.
kind of already doing that. I just haven't shared that that's what I'm doing. It's usually in the
Yeah.
mornings on weekdays. So,
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Kind of an unwritten rule that people can always find you online during that time. That makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was one booktuber, not booktuber, she's a bullet journaler content creation person, and she said, if you want to chat in the comments, I'll be around for about an hour after the video goes live every time. And I thought that was a great idea. She's like, so if you
Mhm.
want to talk to me directly, I'll be here. Come chat. And I thought that was a pretty cool idea. I'm
Yeah,
not that organized yet, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that is a neat idea. I'm not that organized yet either. Um, so you were telling me a little bit earlier about what you did with Facebook. Um, that's a big sticking point for me, only because I have a lot of I have some friends and family that find it easier to communicate via Facebook because read receipts or different things like that, and you know
Yeah.
so I hesitate to get rid of Facebook Messenger. I think that's the difference because I treat Facebook Messenger more like texting,
That makes sense.
and and then Facebook I'm rarely on at all. I maybe get on once a day, and even with that, one of my plans after reading this is to delete Facebook off my phone and just get on like once a
Mm,
week on the computer.
yeah.
And I think that will help me a lot. But thankfully, Facebook Messenger is a separate app because I don't necessarily want to get rid of that.
Yeah.
I
Well,
could.
the thing, Facebook for me is probably the most unhealthy place for me to be. I never get on Facebook and leave it feeling better about life or anything. And then
Mhm.
so I haven't posted a lot on there over the last couple of years. And when I do post, I hate that compulsion that you feel immediately to go back and check to see like which of my friends have liked my post. Has anybody commented? Should I comment back? And like all of this thing and that endlessly scrolling thing just drove me crazy. So
Mhm.
I kind of stayed off Facebook, but then I kept lately at the end of the year I only post one YouTube video and it's my end of year like best of the years and I share that
Mhm.
on Facebook for my friends, but and so that got me back onto Facebook for the first time in months and it
Mhm.
was just driving me crazy. So I noticed that there was a way to kind of suspend your account. You don't have to delete it outright, but you can suspend it. And
Mhm.
incidentally, if you do that, you still have access to Facebook Messenger. So it might be an option for you. But the thing is, okay, so I don't think I'm an idiot when it comes to technology necessarily. I had one screen open that said, "How do I suspend my account on Facebook?" And it gave an instruction, and I had like a couple different options, a couple different ways I could do it. It took me like an hour of going through different options on Facebook to navigate to the part where you could actually suspend the account because they have it hidden. So, like, if it doesn't work this way, then maybe try it this way. And I don't know if that'd be the same for everybody, but I'm like, that is intentional. I am sure of it.
Oh, I'm
And then,
sure.
yeah. And then once I got to the part where I was ready to finally suspend my account, they, they're like, oh, well, you are a administrator on a couple of these pages. And so if you suspend your account, then these pages will also go dark. And one of them was a page that I was linked to with someone else and it's their business. Ah, crap. So now I got to go through them to get them to unadministrative me, whatever on there. And that was like a process. I had to send them a step by step guide, and it took me another 20 minutes to figure out how to do that. And then a couple of days for them to actually do that. Okay, so we're back to square one. I go back to the like suspend my account through the same way that I did it before. It's not there anymore. I've got to go through and try to find it a different way. So it was another 20 minutes of work. And so I finally get to that. And then at the last minute, they're like, well, like you have created all of these really fun groups. And if you suspend your account for more than 30 days, then we're just going to archive them and they're gone forever. And so
Mhm.
I'm like, I feel very offended that you're trying to manipulate me like that, like threaten me to, so I'm like, okay, I'm off. And then like a day later, I'm on my phone. I have one game left on my phone and I'm trying to log in on that. And I log in through Facebook on that and it let me log in. I'm like, oh, okay. I must not need to have an active account for it to work. No, no, no. I got an email the next day saying, welcome back to Facebook. So I had to go through the entire process again of
Oh
getting
no.
myself off of it again. It is the most aggravating thing. And all of that is obviously designed to keep you from leaving because they make money with your eyeballs on their screen for as long as possible. And so you leaving is their worst case scenario. That's a lost customer. That's lost income. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they made it so difficult. And so, yeah, so I finally have suspended that account, and I finally figured out how to log into other things because everything I have is connected to Facebook. Everything. So I
Mm-hmm.
finally figured out how to log in it like separate from that, and yeah, just a big ordeal. And I didn't have the gall to delete it permanently. I might get to that point. There is an option where you can kind of save all of your photos and posts and stuff like that, but I didn't want to mess with that this time around. But before doing this, I went through and like they talk a little bit about like the social anxiety that it creates. There was even a
Mm-hmm.
quote. They are exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology, which
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like, that need to be included and stuff. And I went
Mm-hmm.
through and deleted about 300 or 400 people that I didn't actually know or have a connection with. Like, oh, great, I went to high school with you, but did we talk then? Have we talked since? That kind of
Right.
thing. But the anxiety was so real going through and actually deleting because it felt like I was ostracizing myself from these people that I didn't even know. It's so
Yes.
anxious. It made me very anxious. And after I did it, I felt really uncomfortable. I still feel a little uncomfortable with how many people I unfriended because I'm like, what if I made a mistake?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing
I've done
is
that
like these
too.
people, all the people who care about me, I have their phone numbers, like
Mm-hmm.
the people who are integral to my life, but it's these fabricated connections, like the not fabricated, but like superficial connections
Mm-hmm.
where you think they have a lot of meaning, but they don't because they're not actually adding anything to your life. Yeah.
Right.
And my husband even said when I told him I was suspending my account, he's like, well, aren't you afraid you're going to miss out on like updates and stuff and life updates? And I'm like, actually, yes, I am terrified that I'm going to do that. But then, like, my cousin, my cousin had a grandbaby, and I got pictures from my aunt for that by texting her directly instead of waiting to see it on Facebook, if that makes sense. And so, one of the things Cal talks a lot about is instead of doing that superficial commenting and liking online, try actually using that time to make a real solid connection with someone. And that's one of my action plans is every single day to send text to a friend or a picture or something or call someone instead of doing that like, oh, I wonder what people are doing on Facebook kind of a thing. So that's how I'm kind of using this project to enhance my social connections.
Right. Yeah, that's good. And it's a terrifying prospect. It really is because like several of my Facebook friends I keep in touch with pretty regular, but only through Facebook. And it's like,
Yeah,
well,
that'd be hard.
maybe I should get their phone numbers. And so yeah,
Or even just go dark and then use the messenger aspect because evidently that doesn't go away.
apparently, yeah, that's good. Took him ages, and yeah, marketplace is a handy it's
Yeah.
a handy
I have a
tool.
hack there. My husband's never going to get off Facebook, so I just have him list stuff.
Oh, there
But
you
yeah,
go.
there are so many tools and useful things where you feel like you'd be out of luck without them kind of a thing.
Right.
But I'm not very good at making Facebook work for me
Mm-hmm.
and using it as a tool. I get sucked into it
Mm-hmm.
in the ways that I feel are unhealthy for my well-being. So if I were able to just use it for the practical things, which Cal Newport offered a whole bunch of different um, examples of people who got really creative with making things work for them. So
Mm-hmm.
this one lady muted everything but the one group that she wanted to check in on Facebook to follow. And so when she checked on Facebook, there was no feed. The only thing that was there was the group she was interested in. And so that was her hack. And I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, Facebook is an interesting animal for me because I have Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
although I am thinking very strongly about deleting my Instagram.
Mm.
Because literally the only thing I do is post my videos on there. and I chat in Instagram Messenger with a few people, but for the most part, those people are also on Discord,
Oh,
and I
so
am
they
going
can
to keep my,
find you.
they can
Yeah.
find me, and I am going to keep my Discord, so that's not going away because I feel like most of my valuable interactions with some of my YouTube friends and followers has been on Discord.
Yeah.
So yeah, Instagram is kind of a problem because all I do is post the videos, and then they auto post to my business page on Facebook for Bookish Chats.
Hmm.
So when I post the stuff on
Yeah.
Instagram, it auto posts to Facebook, and
Yeah.
so it's one of those
So
dilemmas.
then you
I'm
got to
like,
go
okay,
check that. Yeah.
right, I gotta go check that, and yeah,
Yep.
so I don't know.
I've
I
had
have thought. Oh, go ahead.
you first.
Oh, well, I had thought about. Uh, I think there's got to be a way to convert your Facebook to just a business profile alone. I think there's a way to do it.
Oh,
I
that
think
would be
I'm not
cool.
positive, but you see all these businesses on Facebook, and celebrities as well. You see their pages on Facebook, and it's
Yeah.
that's all it is. That's the only way to find them on Facebook. So there's got to be a way, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. There's even, I don't know if you could even get like a different login so that you're only logged into your business side of things. That would be
Yes.
kind of cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the Discord thing. I have resisted. I downloaded it for like 2 days and
Hmm.
just the chat scene or whatever. When I was on my phone the most was when I was on live. It's a chatting thing.
Hmm.
We used it for this karaoke app that I was involved in, and I got on a
Oh,
group. We
okay,
did
yeah.
competitions, but we spent endless hours chatting and sharing things on live. And it's kind of like Discord, a little bit less structured. But I was on it 24/7, and that impulse to stay up with the chat meant that that's all I was doing on my phone. I have no idea what my kids were doing during that time frame. I was on my phone all the time. Like I just it
Mhm.
totally absorbed me. And the only way for me to feel involved and invested in a chat is not to just pop in every day or so. You have to actually keep up with the conversation and be involved with it. Otherwise you're just like a phantom, like, hey, bye. And those people never really get the purpose of it, like the interaction portion of it. And I miss that. But I'm like, I downloaded it. I'm like, I just don't, I can't commit to it. So I kind of set up, instead of doing a Discord, I have a secret Goodreads group, which
Oh
is,
yeah.
it's not set up to be chatty at all. I mean, but you can have a back and forth, but it's not programmed in a way that makes you expect a response immediately. And I thought it was something I could better handle. Plus, I've been an administrator for a group on Goodreads for several years now, so I already knew how to set everything up, how to moderate, how to run one. But yeah, Discord, I feel like I could be so much more enmeshed in the community if I were to just get on Discord and spend like a month chatting with people, because there's so many people I really like and want to be on their discords and like a part of it all. But yeah, what do I steal from? What project that I have going in my life do I want to take time from? Which kid do I want to take time from to focus on that? And that's kind of where I'm at. Everything is like a opportunity cost.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I totally get that. And he talked a lot about that in the book, the weighing the cost versus the benefit. Um, that
Like,
particular part of the book was huge for me. I'm like, wow, that's really good. What are you giving up to spend time on these platforms? And yeah, and that's kind of why I kind of was rethinking, especially Instagram and my use of Facebook and deleting that off my phone at least. And
yeah.
um, in fact, it's funny with Discord. I don't only use it for direct messaging, but most of what I use it for is direct messaging with a few of my friends. Um,
Oh, that
on a
makes
regular
sense.
basis. Yeah, because
And
they
direct
do.
messaging is less like an ongoing, like it's an ongoing conversation, but it doesn't feel like you have to be there for
Yeah,
every single beat. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's useful.
and it's not with several dozen people at once. It's just one on one with another person. You can do group direct messages, but it's more difficult and chaotic. And I
Yeah,
just
that
like
makes
the.
sense.
I'm a very one on one person in general. Yeah,
You
I
seem like a much more, well, I mean, that's obvious. You're a very social person, like very engaging, very inclusive with people. And I imagine that social media really goes a long way into helping you with that. Whereas I am a recluse. I don't get out much, I don't talk much. So kind of over here doing my own thing. And so yeah, it's funny because it sounds like for me this would be a drain, but for you this exact same platforms offer enrichment,
hmm
which I also love about the book. It's not one size fits all. It's very
Yeah.
much customizable to what your needs are. Like, what are your values in life? Your values are, it sounds like a social is a
hmm
big value for you. Whereas my value is all these random creative projects that I tell myself I never have time to do.
Yeah.
Not that you can't have both, but like you're using your tools to work for you. And I have determined that those tools would not benefit my high value items. I think that's the phrase he used, high value activities.
Yep. High
So
value activities exactly. And yeah, I guess for the most part, I make it work for me, but not always. Um I definitely get sucked into the scroll and refresh and things like that,
it's
and
so hard not to.
it is.
It's
And
programmed to make you do that. Like, it's not a human flaw. It's
yeah,
exploiting our natural tendencies, and I bristle against that. I bristle against being manipulated like that unknowingly for so long.
right. Yeah, and I yeah, I bristle against it too, and it's kind of it's hard. It's kind of like being on the fence. You want some of the benefits, but are they really that big a benefit? And
Yeah.
believe it or not, I am kind of a recluse myself, but I do enjoy social interaction, and I tend to prefer social interaction like in person.
Mm.
So like these live streams like you and I are doing, or like when I do video chats with friends or whatever, that feels the most like being in person to me. So it's a very similar feeling. And then
Yeah.
of course the ultimate is to actually have people over to my house and
Yeah.
watch movies or play games or whatever, like actual in person. But
Yeah.
the next best thing to in person is this kind of interaction for me.
Yeah.
Um, and normal social media doesn't necessarily do that for you. Um,
Yeah. I agree. We're definitely curating meaningful connections with content creation. I was thinking about that too, and I do have to set aside time to comment response and make sure that I'm present online because I my interactions with my patrons are really what's driving my content creation. Like they
mhm,
motivate me so much. Like these are people who are taking time. Time is
mhm,
the most valuable thing in my mind out of their lives to interact with everything that I'm doing and it's just so incredibly flattering, not to mention financial support on top of that. And
mhm.
so for me, those connections are really important to nurture, but I've got
Yeah.
to figure out a way to do it where it doesn't take over my life. Because I don't
Mhm,
know about you, but 9 times out of 10, when I check comments, it's not because I'm actually going to respond to comments right then. I'll read them just to see what they are. And
mhm.
then, yeah, go off and just think about them for a couple days and then finally respond. Like, what a waste of time if I'm not going to respond right then, but it's the impulse to see like what's new. It's the novelty seeking thing. Like humans are so programmed to seek novelty and
Yeah.
that crapshoot of like, oh, who commented this time? What did they say? Kind of a thing is it's very addicting. It is for me anyway.
It is addicting, yeah, because you want to see what they said, and
And it's also a form of seeking validation. I've been having to watch that real closely, like how often am I checking my numbers? Because um, it can be real easy as a content creator to fall into that game of like my worth is how much growth I'm seeing. My worth is how many
Yeah.
comments I get. And that is a very ugly, slippery slope that I don't want to go into, And so, but I find that when I'm mindlessly impulse checking that kind of stuff, it's for that validation hit. And
Hmm.
so, like, oh, I just had a video go live this morning and I forgot all about it. I wonder how many comments I got, kind of a thing. And I
Yeah.
try to get myself out of that mentality because it's so unhealthy. Because say you have a weird day where you don't get a lot of comments, you feel it emotionally, and that's part of the like culture as well. As they were making a connection in the book on how it's linked to a lot of youth depression and everything,
Yeah.
because they are seeking their validation online, and all of that is when you're not getting it, you feel like you don't belong, you feel like a failure. And I mean, I see a few other content creators talk numbers and stuff and get so discouraged when the numbers just aren't where they want them to be, and comparing to other people. And unhealthy it's an unhealthy standpoint, I think, to be that in that comparison mode. It's very hard not to. YouTube is like front and center, like your video is doing amazing or your video sucks, yay.
Right.
So it's hard to get away from that.
Yeah, it really is. I think that's the thing that I get stuck in the most is, checking the subscribers and uh
Yeah.
I don't check likes versus dislike. Well, you can't really see the dislikes unless you like look for it, so I just don't look for it.
Oh, yeah,
But
on the side of all your content, it shows percentage of likes versus dislikes. And that annoys
oh,
me. I'm like,
right.
well, what if I didn't want to see all those stats?
Yeah.
Right? But they make everything front and center.
Yeah. Yeah, I think is that on the YouTube Studio on the computer? The
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm almost exclusively just use it on my phone, and it doesn't show all
Mm.
that on my phone unless I go searching for it, which
Oh,
is
that makes sense.
probably good for me because I don't
Yeah,
need to
no,
see how many
good.
people disliked my video. I'm like, "Okay."
Well, what's funny is I heard this is the rabbit hole that you can get into with that. I heard that you can see the analytics will take you into the video itself and show you where more people were watching. So
Yeah.
see where there's spikes and see where people dropped off. And
Yeah.
I mean, I got sucked into it for like 2 or 3 hours. Like, oh, what was I talking about then that got a spike? And then, oh, what do people not want to hear? And it messes with your head, because
Yes.
you're like, oh, well, then that is why so many content creators, not so many, but there's a couple who sound the same, because they know the analytics, they know what to talk about to generate more views and to keep viewership longer. And I'm like, that I can't let myself go down that rabbit hole again, because I can't make content for other people, or else I'm not going to be able to sustain
Yes.
it.
Yeah, it has to be something that you feel authentic with and
Yeah.
is about you and not so much about everyone else. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, you are trying to build growth and stuff too. Like it's always about that when you're doing content, but I just know myself. I know that if I tried to cater, it wouldn't last very long. I would get tired of doing it, and if I were to work that hard to cater and then fail and then have
Mhm.
things not do well, then I would feel like crap, and it would be not motivating to keep going. But if I do something that I really love and it fails and it goes like crap, I'm like, well, that's because I wasn't playing the game, not because my stuff wasn't good. Like I can psychoanalyze myself out of that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I'm the same way. There's that part of me that sneaks up and says, "Oh, you need to do more of this, you need to do more of this," but I'm like, "No, I just rather be me." And if the numbers are there, great. If the numbers aren't there, then
Yeah,
it's
well,
not
and
that big a
it's
deal.
it's that thing of where I want to be myself and find the people who absolutely love the weird crap that I do. And I have
Yeah.
found my people.
Yeah.
I have found my people. I've found people who love the like weird analytical reading strategies that I do and love my read burn hoard feature
Hmm.
and being able to like I may not have hundreds of people that love that kind of stuff because it's very specific, but the people who really love it, like they really love it. And so I'm like, welcome home. We
Hmm.
found our people kind of a thing. And so I think that to me is much more satisfying in the long run.
Yeah,
So
I agree. That is, yeah, because that's what you want. You want the people um, that really want to watch your content no matter what.
yeah,
Uh,
because
because
those are
the
people I follow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the what's the word I want to use for it? The quote unquote popular stuff.
Mm.
Um, those people are going to be there for it for a while, and then they're going to go once it doesn't happen again. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because I look at the people whose content that I follow regularly, and I'm so invested in what they're doing because I feel like they're just such original creators that they could do a video on anything and I'll watch it.
Hmm. Oh yeah, exactly.
It's the
Yeah,
healthy way to be. I
it
think if
is.
you do it, they always say like new YouTuber advice, like don't do it for the numbers or whatever. And
Yeah.
to a degree, I feel like that's also why I'm not willing to play the game to get into the clique because I mean, now don't get me wrong, if I were in the clique, I'd feel pretty good about myself, but
Hmm.
I can't, I just don't feel like I can muster it to play the game to get into it. So
Yeah.
it's I don't know. It's like a time benefit versus reward kind of a thing. But yeah, but all of this does stem back to the minimalism thing of like it's geared that way on purpose to
Hmm.
make you feel those highs and wanting to keep creating and wanting to play the game because like it's manipulating that social payoff in your brain when it does go well. And I'm trying to remind myself that that's what's going on there. Like my brain is just seeking that payoff of that additional number as opposed to an actual connection or yay, congratulations, job well done kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard not to watch the number,
It
Josh.
is. Oh yeah, totally.
It is
And
fun to see progress when you feel like you're being authentic and doing your own thing, and then to see good numbers from that. It's such yeah, it's so hard to remain impartial because it is exciting. Congrats,
yeah.
creeping towards 1,000.
Yeah, yeah, he's getting close there, and I'm slowly creeping there too, and it's hard because YouTube gives you that magic number. Oh, if you hit 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours, you can
You
start
can
getting paid.
monetize.
And so
Yeah,
it's kind of like, well, you know, and who doesn't want to make? I mean, YouTube's already making money off of your content anyway, so who
yeah,
doesn't want to dip into that pool, right? But
yeah.
yeah,
I tell you
it
what, though.
pay attention.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I
No,
didn't
you're
mean
good.
to interrupt. The I tell you what though, like I've been monetized for a couple months and about $10 a month, and they don't even pay you until you hit $100. So I've
Right.
gotten one payday, and I'm like, it's just so funny because you're like, ooh, monetization, but then and then I can see why that would also be a motivating thing to create certain content because it gains more money per whatever, like book hauls, like
Mm-hmm.
those are cash cows. But yeah, it's really funny. I was all excited to monetize. Yeah, $10. Woohoo!
Right.
I have a
Yeah.
friend who has he did some reviewing for like a outdoor sports shop or whatever. They would send him product and he'd make YouTube videos. I think he one video got him enough following or whatever. This was back before they had the restriction of 1,000 followers, but he got enough views on one video that he started making money. He made like 2 cents a month. It's really funny. He's like, whoa, spend that all in one place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, for most people, I don't think it amounts to much. There's one person I know that makes a good part-time income off of it,
That would be
and
really cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
it so yeah, but you know, she's got over 100,000 subs and stuff like that. So, you know, even at that level, you're not making full
You're
time.
not fully supporting yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah, it's
Good on
probably
her though. That's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, it's one of those things where it's more of a marathon than a sprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've thought this with my blogging because I've been blogging since 2012 and uploading reviews to Goodreads, and I don't have a significant following compared to a lot of other people who have done that. But I'm like, where I'm going to beat them is in consistency and longevity. Because if I
Hmm.
commit to something, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. We're doing the thing. We're going to see what we can do. And I've noticed that a lot of the almost every blogger that I started out with in a friends group of like 20 different people, only two of them are still blogging at this point.
Hmm.
So whatever following the others had been gaining, they don't have it anymore because they stopped doing it. So, and that's another reason why it's important to really be intentional about what I'm posting on there.
Right.
I was going to ask you, so we came up with for chapter 3, they had a kind of like an action plan
Hmm.
on what you're going to do over the next, like, I don't know, what your intentions are with digital stuff going forward, and you kind of develop this action plan. And I kind of played around with it the first two times I read the book, but this time I actually wrote something down for the sake of the buddy read. So I was wondering if you would be interested in like going through what your action plan would be.
Yeah, I'd love to. And I was just looking for it here as you started bringing that up, and I'm trying to find what I did with it. But yeah, I put it.
I
I
have
had
mine here if you want me to go first.
sure, yeah, go for it, and
Okay.
I'll find mine, I'm sure.
Okay, this was the fun part though because it kind of
There we go.
helped gear my brain into like living more intentionally with what I'm doing, and it helped me strategize. And if nothing else, I love strategizing things. So my action plan was to make my Facebook account inactive, which I did,
Hmm.
check. Um I'm not on TikTok or Discord. I have a Twitter account, but I haven't logged on in like 3 years, so that doesn't count. And then my
Hmm.
Instagram won't let me in because of a password thing. It's weird. So I've
Hmm.
just stopped trying to get on to Instagram. So great. I'm off there. I'm going to stay off of all those. Um, all video edits and clerical tasking and commenting will happen only during my 9 to 5 workday. Stuff like that is not allowed on my phone. I can only do it on my work computer.
That's awesome.
My boss loves that, I'm sure. Only check email at work, which I think I would also like to somehow I need to figure out a way to check email less often while I'm at work because I just do it whenever I'm bored. Like I'm on my email constantly and it's
Mhm.
there's never anything there. It's like, what am I doing? Only respond to comments at work. Don't take my phone to bed. This one I'm having a hard time with. It was one of my intentions to leave my phone in the other room. But I listen to audiobooks before I fall asleep, before I go to
Oh,
bed.
yeah.
If I put it in an audiobook, then I can go to sleep usually within 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Oh, my earbuds are dying. Um, but if um, I cannot set a sleep timer on my Kindle with the audiobooks. And so I have to actually be aware long enough to turn it off, and then I have to backtrack, and it's a huge pain in the butt. So I've been unable to find a way around that one. Maybe I need to do like sleep meditations or something instead, but yeah, I've been unable to do that one, but that's something I would like to work towards. Um, read instead of stream when I'm either feeding a baby or eating a meal.
Yeah.
That's a big one because I'm stuck on the couch for hours, taking care of a baby. And
Mhm.
yeah, if I can like have my Kindle in hand, this one I have been doing. And I think I've probably like doubled or tripled my reading every single day almost just by just little bits here and there, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. So that's been really
That's
good.
awesome.
And yeah, stay off my internet on my phone unless I'm willing to pay. That one's the big one.
Mm-hmm.
And only stream, only watch YouTube when I am engaged in some other high value activity at the same time. So if I'm
Mm-hmm.
sitting there cross stitching, yeah, go ahead and stream to have something in the background. Or even better, listen to a book, which is what I've been opting for lately.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, don't just sit on there, and then be picky about what I'm streaming and where's the benefit. Like, yeah, make sure that I'm watching the things I'm actually interested in, as opposed to just trying to work my way through that backlog of like 500 videos. Because I mean, old me would go through at the very bottom and just work my way, watch everything systematically. It doesn't matter if I was only kind of interested in the content, I would just watch it anyway. But my
Yeah,
time is valuable. So yep, those are my intentions.
that's cool. Those are great intentions. I did find mine, and so I can share that here. So I made a list of keep, delete, and unsure. so
Oh
I
yeah, okay.
so I started with the things I want to keep. Obviously, are texting, Facebook Messenger because I treat it like texting. Marco Polo, I do have like the video messages with two really close friends that we share video messages and stuff on Marco Polo, probably on a daily basis, not all day, but once
Yeah,
once or twice a day at most.
keep
Um,
connected. Yeah.
mhm. Goodreads only because I use it to keep track of my books, and that's literally the only thing I use it for is to keep track of my reading, and it syncs with my Kindle. So,
That makes
and
sense.
that I don't even have to necessarily have on my phone. I could delete that off my phone. So,
I
uh,
forgot about Goodreads. My intention with that is to get on there for high value activities, but not allow myself to check notifications. So I can
okay,
check
yeah,
messages, but I'm not allowed to check the notifications, and that's been going pretty well. I forgot about that
that's
one.
good. Yeah, that's awesome. Um, YouTube, use it for posts and collaborations only. What I'm gonna try to keep myself to 1 day a week for watching my bell notifications. So I went through all of my subscriptions and I turned on the bell notifications so that
Hmm.
when I
Yeah.
go back and check what videos are posted, I can do that.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and then YouTube Studio, use it for responding only instead of constantly checking my uh,
Analytics. Yeah.
yeah, so those are the ones I'm going to keep, and then um, I am thinking I'm going to delete. I am going to delete Facebook off my phone for sure, and then after 30 days, I'll 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 leave it off my phone, but I might set it up where I check it once a week just to see what's going on. Go to my
Yeah.
computer and check it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And then Instagram, I am probably going to delete it altogether. That's the plan. Because I really don't do anything of much value on there other than post my videos, and it's funny. I think you and I kind of talked about this a little. For all the effort that you put into some of these platforms, weighing the
Yeah.
cost versus the benefits,
Yeah.
you put in all this time, and then you check your analytics, and uh, so Instagram is considered an outside source. So
Yeah.
outside sources gain me like 3% of my views, and of that 3%, 1% is Instagram.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, why am
Yeah.
I doing this?
Yeah. Yeah, when it takes a lot of effort for very little payoff, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah. Other than the few people I chat with on Instagram, privately one on one, and even those, most of those are on. I can find on Discord as well. So that's my plan. I probably am going to delete Instagram,
Good idea.
um, and then um, and then I'm unsure about Discord. I'm probably going to keep Discord. Patreon, of course, I have my patrons. I don't want to lose out on that.
Yeah.
Um, and then Voxer and WhatsApp. I have one person I message on WhatsApp, a
Mm-hmm.
good friend, and we don't chat that often on there. So I was thinking, well, do I really need to be on WhatsApp? And then Voxer, I have a couple of people I keep in touch with on Voxer. So those I'm kind of unsure about, and I'll probably end up keeping them just because I use them for very specific use cases. So,
That makes sense. Yeah, I've had to kind of look at which ones suck me into the black hole and which ones I can just log in and get the value and then log back out. And so
exactly.
and I had to let go of all the ones that I you can't control the rabbit holes that I fall into. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then you mentioned Twitter. I forgot to talk about Twitter. I deleted Twitter altogether.
Mm. I need to. I checked in like, I don't know, 2 years ago and realized that I had missed messages from authors,
Hmm.
like, I don't know, over the course of 2 years, and so I thought, I'm never gonna check it. I need to delete myself off of there. I only have, like, 100 followers on there, and I've been on there for, like, 10 years, but I just
Yeah,
need to delete it off of there so that people will direct their energies towards my other platforms where I'm actually engaging.
yeah.
I might do that, but then I'd have to figure out how to log in because I don't have any of my login information anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's the thing too. And I did have a lot of authors that I followed, and then I discovered, well, those authors are on Instagram too. So
Mhm.
once I once I discovered that, I'm like, well, I'll just delete Twitter. I don't need to be on there because those authors post on Instagram pretty actively. But if I delete Instagram,
Then you have to figure out newsletters.
right, and that's the thing. So Neil, that's the nice thing. The two main authors that I really follow, like on a regular basis,
Mhm.
well, there's three actually: Terry Brooks, Neil Gaiman, and Aaron Morgenstern.
Mm.
Uh, of those three, Terry's the only one on Facebook, but he posts pretty regularly on Facebook, and so
Yeah.
does Sean Speakman, his media moderator and such. So he's on Facebook, so that's not a problem. Um, Neil posts regularly to his blog, so I set up an RSS feed and I get all of
Oh,
his
there you go. Cool.
posts that way. Erin Morgenstern is the tough one because she's pretty much only on Instagram. She
Mm.
does have a blog, but she rarely posts on it. So it's like,
Yeah.
no,
Oh,
I
that'd be
mean,
hard. See,
yeah,
there's always a reason to stay on every single platform, I find.
right.
Like, it's so hard to let go. I mean, uh, yeah, it kind of ties into just minimalism in your lifestyle. You know, you can think of a million reasons to keep any given object, and that
Hmm.
sometimes that value added question is so hard at certain circumstances. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see how it works. If I delete Instagram and then I'm like, well, I'm not hearing anything about Erin Morgenstern, I might be like, well, okay, maybe I should get on there just for her. Have a secret account that I only use for checking one person, you know?
There you go. Like, you have one account with you're following one person.
Right.
That could work.
It
That's
could.
using the
It
tool
could.
to your benefit without getting sucked down the rabbit hole of scrolling and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I thought this was funny from Josh. He tried to sign up for Instagram for Patreon supporters. And then when the 24 hours was up, he tried to log in a few times
It's
and
a
ended up getting
sign.
nothing. Yeah, it's a sign, right? Yeah, I thought that was great. Yeah. And yeah, you're right, JR. YouTube will suck you in big time. My watch later list is, well, and we talked about yours too, Nikki. It's just insanely long. So
It's my biggest time consuming thing right now.
yeah.
And I do feel like a lot of it is high quality and adds to my life, but,
Hmm.
not definitely not as much as I am, you know? It's yeah, it's a fine line, and most of the time when I open it up, it's because I'm too lazy to read or something that
Yeah.
I actually want to be doing,
Hmm.
so Yeah, but yeah, I've been replacing YouTube viewing at home with book reading, and I like it a lot more. It's so much easier to just open up a video, but I delete YouTube off my phone as soon as I'm done uploading a video, and
Oh, that's
yeah,
good.
I wait till I get to work and try to watch it then. But I've been sucked in. I do watch, they talk about digital minimalism. They're also including television in that,
Yeah.
but I didn't even really consider that too much because I don't watch a lot of stuff. Well, no, that's not true. I always have something going at work if I'm not watching YouTube while I'm doing other things,
Mm-hmm.
but they're all high value programs. Like, I don't watch stuff just to watch stuff. I watch things that, like, really motivate me or drive me as a person. So
Mm-hmm.
that one I think I probably should have covered that in one of my ground rules things, but yeah, don't just have, like, Chopped on in the background just to have something on because, all of those episodes are the same, you're not really getting anything new. But,
Mm-hmm.
like, um, I don't know, but there's other I don't know, that was a weird example, but, like, there's a whole bunch of, TV shows that are on that just have just endless episodes and they're all the same thing, but you get sucked into watching them over and over again. And sometimes you really do need a good Storage Wars marathon, you
Mm-hmm.
know? But I try to not get sucked into that when I have other high value things that I'd rather be watching, like favorite
Right.
shows, very favorite shows. Watch those first because I found myself getting sucked into those like serial episodes of things and not
Mm-hmm.
watching the things that I really valued and then getting behind on everything there and then spending more time watching TV than I really wanted to. So again, it comes down to the intentionality thing. And
Yeah,
to be fair, I'm
that
also
does.
applying that to the books that I'm reading a lot lately too. Like everything's got to be high value right now, or else I just have lost patience with just reading mediocre stuff, and so I'm DNFing a lot more. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm in this very much like this very brutal editing portion of my life where I'm trying to cut out all the things that are just draining my time and trying to spend it on the things that mattered most because I got this like inside of mortality that I'm not going to have time to do all of it. So I've got to be really intentional about what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it can, everything that we're talking about here can be applied to every aspect, I think.
Yeah, it really can. Yeah, there was a I was looking for it earlier. There was a new book that I heard about not too long ago. Um, and I saved it to my Audible library because a lot of nonfiction books I do Audible
Yeah, me
for.
too.
I'm not good with processing nonfiction information on in physical book form usually. So, and it's by I don't know if he pronounces it Yuan or Johan, but
Okay.
Yuan Hari, and I forget the name of it now, but I'll send it to you if I think about it because
Yeah, please.
it looked like a good book, and it kind of deals with this thing of the the attention economy and things like that. So, oh,
Yeah,
here it is.
I
Yeah,
eat that stuff up.
still in focus. Johan Hari.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, why you can't pay attention and how to think deeply again. It's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's true.
it is.
Yep,
But
even with all these changes that I'm making, I do find it very hard to focus, and I'm constantly all day long fighting that impulse to check something.
yes,
Drives me crazy. And I'm aware of it. I'm aware that what I'm doing, and 9 times out of 10, I'm doing it because I feel uncomfortable in some way. It's
yeah,
this is very odd. If you pause for like 10 to 15 seconds after you feel that impulse to pick up your phone, you'll notice a whole slew of like random emotions and thoughts that go through your head. Like, why was I picking that up? Oh, it's because the thing that I was watching made me uncomfortable. Oh, it's because I felt bored and I was uncomfortable. Like, it's it's so impulsive, and so just that little bit of a time buffer can usually be enough to make me not check the thing, but it's so uncomfortable. Sometimes I get exhausted fighting it. I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to check stuff. That's where part of my $3 worth of slot machine phone checking came from. It's like, I don't care right now. I'm just tired. I want to just give in to the impulses.
mm-hmm, yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Does your desire to move toward more minimalism extend beyond the digital sphere to other areas? It does, yeah.
Absolutely.
How
In
does it,
fact,
Nikki?
the I think the idea of digital minimalism was probably my it came around in a time where I was stuck in bed with a pregnancy, I couldn't do much, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm looking at all these things around me that I could not manage, and it I got all I could do was sit there and watch YouTube. So I
Mm-hmm.
was watching all these decluttering videos, and then the word minimalism kept coming up, and then I found the Digital Minimalism book and started thinking about living intentionally, and that word intentionality has spread to every single aspect of my life. I have consumed so much content on this. I'm actually even writing a book on like organizing and letting things go and decluttering and all of that. Like you won't hear much about that because it's just a side project thing. But yeah, I just every single aspect of my life I can make better and found has been made better by limiting the things that I need to manage. I got that phrasing from Dawn at the Minimal Mom. She calls everything is something you have to manage, and I love that perspective because it helped me curb my spending because I kept noticing, like, how am I spending my evenings? Like, why am I not able to do the things I love? Oh, because I spent half an hour messing with Amazon packages and taking returns back and like trying to find places to fit this stuff and like all of that. So, because I got sick of messing with stuff, I stopped buying as much stuff. And that's a really good place to start, really. But yeah, my
Mm-hmm.
whole house, every single thing that I do, I'm looking at it as it's taking time away from things that I want to do. And so the more stuff that I have to shuffle around, the more yeah, the less time I have for the things that really matter in life. And even now, I find myself spending most of my weekends picking up stuff. I have 3 young children, so, I mean, right there, you've got an obstacle in in the way. I think if I were a single lady, I could put everything away and, like, it would stay that way, but yeah, I've got kids. But still, I mean, there's other things that I have that are really unnecessary. I'm listening to a couple of different decluttering books right now that have got me really fired up. This whole digital minimalism project that we did got me motivated in other areas of my life to go even further because I've been on this journey for a couple of years now and I thought I was doing pretty dang good. But I started looking at spaces in my house as like places where like I didn't have a clear intention for what I wanted the room to feel like or to be for my household and like where were things failing, where were things getting piled up. So I've been hitting my house really hard over the last month or so. And even today I went through my bathrooms, which I just
My earbuds died, sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Okay. Anyway, like, just even today, went through my bathrooms. I had just gone through them, like, 6 months ago, and I ended up getting rid of, like, over 50 things. How did I still have 50 things in my bathrooms to get rid of? And that's not even counting the stuff that I threw away. And it's just all this stuff that I am just finally at the point where I'm so sick of managing stuff instead of spending time with experiences and on projects that I really love. And for years, I've been content to just shift things around. And I happen to be a master organizer. So I will make anything fit. I can Jenga so much stuff into such a small space that I always kept everything because I always had room for it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for me, living with intention and having only the things that really bring value is what's driving me in life right now. Everything from like how many board games we have to what books are on my shelves. I'm working really hard to curate my collection down to just the best books. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is literally my favorite topic right now. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm consuming so much media, so many books on this, and yeah, everything about it, I absolutely love it. I breathe like the minimalistic concept of living with intention.
Mm-hmm.
And what about you?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've been on this journey for several years now, probably 5 years at least, and it really started with I started buying, like, if I wanted to buy a movie, I would only buy it digitally, unless
Mm,
it's not available on digital, and then I would consider buying the DVD or something like that. But most all of my movies are on digital. Same with my books. I have probably at least 80% of my reading library is on my Kindle, and very few physical books. And the ones I do have, once I've read them, if I don't want them, I'll donate them, or take them to the local used bookstore or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't need things to make me happy. And same with clothing. I only, if I don't use clothing, I donate it. I only have, I think I have I think I have 13 or 14 shirts, a couple of pullovers, a couple pairs of pants, and I'm really
So
minimal with
you're
my
down to it.
clothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have one pair of shoes. Well, I have two pairs of shoes. One is a pair of dress shoes that I never use. So I probably should get rid of them, but just in case I ever have to have an interview, I keep those around. And then my regular everyday shoes, and that's it. So I'm pretty minimal with everything I do. Yeah.
That's pretty
And
good. And see, I love stuff. I love my stuff, but it's about keeping the best stuff, you know?
yeah.
Like the Marie Kondo thing of sparking joy, I totally get that. Some
hmm
people are like, "I have no idea what she's talking about," but I do. I keep the stuff that really makes me happy, and then everything else is just yeah. Part of my decluttering method is taking like if you have a shelf full of knickknacks or whatever, you take everything off and then put back just your favorites. Like pick out because you know which ones are your favorites, right? You'll hang on to
hmm
everything because they're cool, but you put back just your favorites and you let it stay like that for a while. Like how does this look with just my favorites on there? Like
hmm
maybe I could live without these other ones because I really like the way it looks with just the good stuff. And I feel the
hmm
same way about clothing items too. Like pulled everything out of my closet one day and put back just my favorites and looked at my closet. Everything I love wearing is just in this nice little wardrobe. Like, yeah, maybe I don't need all of these other things. So
Right.
if for me, it's a gradual. I have a really sentimental attachment to stuff. And so it has been a really long process for me to be okay letting things go, just weird stuff. I mean, I have towels that I got let go today that I have had since I was 15. So 20 years I've been dragging these towels around. And because you can use them for whatever, like use them for the dog, put them on the floor, whatever, like I can find use out of it. And it's like, yeah, but I've had them for a long time. So ergo,
hmm
they're never leaving my house. So, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I'm there with you. I still have stuff that I probably need to evaluate and work through. And I think this is another case of where it's more of a marathon, more of a journey than it is like just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It's a process of becoming minimal, I think.
I found that really disappointing when I finally figured out, like, "Oh, I'm not done."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, I'm always going to be curating things," but thankfully, I love doing it. And I'm
hmm
finally getting it down to where I can manage it by myself because that's been really stressful trying to manage everything and trying to do all of these creative projects and I work full time. I have all these creative projects that I'm doing. I'm a content creator and I have 3 kids and all of these things I'm trying to do and I'm trying to keep a clean house. I remember seeing this meme. It's one of my favorite memes. It's like a triangle and it's got sanity, happiness, no, wait. Sanity, happy family, clean house, and you can only have 2 of the 3 at
Yeah.
any given moment, and most of the time, I sacrifice my sanity, and so this minimalism journey has allowed me to gain a little bit of that sanity back because I'm not spending all of my time on my house, because I love doing stuff like this, so I could get sucked into it for days. But see, I have to watch that tendency though, because I'm such a perfectionist. I want to do it well, right? Like I want to have everything narrowed down to just the bare minimum. And I think that's how some people end up with like a household with a mattress on the floor and like two things else in their house, and that's it. Like, they have nothing in their house but like a mattress. And so
Mhm.
I've got to watch that tendency of mine to want to get to that level of perfection. I've got to figure out what place where, yes, this is comfortable, this is manageable, and yeah, gotta find that happy medium of all of it.
Yeah, finding that healthy balance is really important because, yeah, it's that book, Goodbye Things
Oh
by
yeah, I've read
yeah,
that one. Hmm.
yeah, I there's the tendency to wanna go there, but I'm at the same time, I'm like, and I could go there if I didn't have kids, if I didn't
Yeah,
have family and, stuff like that, but, yeah, it's not necessarily healthy either, or not for everybody, at least it works for him,
yeah,
but not necessarily for everybody, so it does
it
give a hit
does.
of dopamine, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it causes stress. Yep, so true.
Yep, there's a lot of research that shows that your environment affects your mental health,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
believe it true. Like, I feel very unsettled when things are around me are chaotic, when I have so much going on. My household is the only thing I have control over sometimes, and
Mhm,
so when I don't have the time to even take care of that well, it drives me absolutely crazy, and it's just because I don't have, like, I have too much stuff. That's simply it. I cannot manage it all by myself, and so it's yeah, it gets really frustrating. But
mhm.
yeah, the dopamine hit. Luckily, I think, I've been burned so many times by having to let go of things that I spent such good money on, and it hurts to let it go because I'm like, "What a waste." I hate wasting. I hate feeling like I'm just filling a landfill, and so it has made that dopamine hit of buying something new go away almost. So,
Yeah,
whenever I look at something, I'm like, "Am I going to be willing to throw this away?" I donate everything, but you know what I mean? Like, just
mhm.
get rid of this in a couple of years and be okay with it, or is this something that's gonna be around for a while? So,
Right.
luckily, I'm at the point in the process where everything really does come into my house with the intention. And I set myself a challenge at the beginning of the year. I want to see if I can make it the whole year with only buying 50 things. And
Mm,
that includes birthday presents, not books. But I'm okay with that because I'm kind of on a rotation with that. But everything else in my household, like, can I get by with only 50 things? And then I'm also
mhm.
keeping track of the number of items that I'm donating to see where the ratio ends up at the end of the year. And
That's
I think I'm
cool.
gonna be able to do it. I thought even if I don't make it a year, I wanna see how long I can go with before I have filled 50 items worth of things. And yeah, so far so good. It's made me really think twice about buying stuff. Like,
Oh,
I
that's
gotta go
awesome.
into it with some real intentionality because that's one of my 50 things. I probably will have to renegotiate when Christmas comes around, but we'll see. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think I'm only at about 12 items so far, so
Hey, that's not bad.
not
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, definite spending freeze. Now my husband is not on the same, uh, he's not playing that same game, so stuff is still coming into our house, but yeah, it's my side of things I've cleaned up a little bit, and I really like how it feels, like, not having to return things and manage buying stuff, like, ordering online, nothing ever shows up the way it's supposed to, and so I found myself at the UPS store more often than not, and that was driving me crazy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have a very efficient, um, delivery system oftentimes with UPS. Yeah, we've had
Gotta
some
wait
issues with
online
them.
for 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably a good spot to, end our discussion. I think this was really valuable. I know it definitely has been for me, and we've had some good discussion in the comments, and um,
And
I'll
thank you,
be
Josh
excited to.
and JR. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate you guys checking in and joining our stream, and uh, I'll look forward to checking in with you, Nikki, and seeing how things are going with that.
Yeah, we'll
uh,
have to do a follow-up in, like, 6 months and see how things are going. Yeah.
yeah, that would be good. I'd like that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thanks
Well,
everybody for tuning in, and
yeah,
if
thanks for
you have,
having me.
yeah, you're welcome. If thanks, Josh. If
Thank
you guys haven't read this book before, if you find any interest in checking out Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport, it's a really great book, quick read as well, and
Yeah.
it's available on audio, ebook, and physical. So check it out if you're watching the stream on the rewatch. Definitely check out this book. It's been really valuable to both of us. It sounds like so. A lot of people can get value from it. Yeah.
Yep.
All
Multiple
right. Well,
reads.
thanks everybody for tuning in, and have a wonderful night. Make sure you read more books.